What if some of the greatest comedy movies of all time were never actually made? Instead of prioritizing these comedies, Hollywood prioritized other films, leading to the current era of cinema that we've been suffering through. But the tide seems to be turning, so maybe we could actually see a couple of these projects revived. So let's look at the funniest comedies that were never made. This list is full of A-list acting duos and legendary actor-director partnerships that never came to be. Did you love The Hangover? What about Knocked Up, The 40-Year-Old Virgin, and This Is 40? Well, what if I told you these worlds were set to merge, but the movie never made it out of development? This is unfortunately true. Judd Apatow was set to direct a comedy starring Zach Galifianakis about a quasi-canceled comedian. However, Hollywood had other plans. Universal Studios passed on the script and largely prioritized existing IP, only furthering the central problem with this current era of cinema. This one is especially a bummer, given Judd Apatow is one of the all-time great comedy directors, and Zach Galifianakis genuinely might be even better at his craft. Apatow really has a knack for understanding what his actors do best, playing to their strengths, and giving them a ton of freedom via improv. So it's really tragic that we never got to see what the duo could have done together. However, Judd did fire his agent and move to an entirely different agency, and he's already garnered momentum getting his next movie greenlit. So maybe we will see this script come to life at some point after all. But what about a sequel to the movie that Judd Apatow credits for fast-tracking his career? Judd said on a podcast that Old School is the reason that Anchorman got made, which subsequently led to his directorial debut in The 40-Year-Old Virgin. But did you know that there was real talk for several years that this comedy classic was going to get a sequel? Given the cultural impact of the original and the magnitude of which Vince Vaughn, Will Ferrell, and Todd Phillips' careers blossomed as a result of it, I'm quite surprised that a sequel never came to be. But director Todd Phillips did say after many years that the ship had sailed on a sequel coming to be. He clearly got tied up with the likes of The Hangover and Due Date, and simultaneously, Vince and Will seem to be starring in every other comedy. While they were all making great movies, you can't help but wonder how epic an Old School sequel would have been. During this period, we were really spoiled with great comedy after great comedy, and considering how dead the genre has been for about a decade now, there has no doubt been open time for this movie to be made. But this isn't the only Vince Vaughn classic that once had momentum for a sequel. There was also real talk of a Dodgeball and Wedding Crashers sequel. And which of these three legendary comedies would you have liked to most see a sequel to? Let me know in the comments down below. I feel like for me personally, it's probably Old School, maybe Dodgeball. Wedding Crashers is my favorite movie of all time, and I'm honestly just scared what a potential sequel could do to the original, so I want to play it safe with either Old School or Dodgeball. But we're not ready to move on from Vince Vaughn, because there was yet another comedy that his name was attached to that just never saw the light of day. However, this one was even further along, as it had a script written, a director attached, and Jason Bateman was set to co-star. And if a Vince Vaughn, Jason Bateman comedy couldn't escape development hell, that really just shows you how big of a nightmare the Hollywood bureaucratic system is. The movie was titled Insane Laws and was about two childhood best friends whose children go off to college and all hell breaks loose when one of them impregnates the other. Just based on the premise plus cast alone, this was set to be at the bare minimum a really fun movie, but more likely had all of the makings to be an all-time comedy classic. But did you know there's an unmade Seann William Scott movie in which he was set to play a role unlike one he's ever played before? Nerd Camp was going to be directed by Pineapple Express director David Gordon Green and was set to star Scott about a summer camp for geniuses. As to why the movie never got made, director David Gordon Green simply stated, "They took it away from me and Danny before anybody knew who we were." It's hard to picture Seann William Scott in such a role, but given his talent, I know he could have pulled it off. And who knows if or how this would have changed the trajectory of his career. And if you love this style of comedy, my directorial debut was a stoner comedy passion project titled Rosetta Stoned. And I want to give it to you for free when you sign up for my email list, which will be found in the pinned comment down below. And if you enjoy YouTube videos like this, please hit the subscribe button, as I'm trying to build a community around these sorts of 2000 style comedies that we all love. But who's the first actor that comes to mind when you think of comedy movies? And what about the second? For most of you, I'm assuming in either order, it was Adam Sandler and Will Ferrell. And just wow. How did Hollywood screw up the opportunity to produce a movie starring debatably the two biggest comedy box office draws of all time? Well, they did. Set to be directed by Anchorman director Adam McKay, 3 Mississippi was going to be a Thanksgiving football comedy. And as someone whose favorite sport is football, whose favorite movie genre is comedy, and whose favorite holiday is Thanksgiving, this one really stings. While not a ton more was revealed about the project, given the icons who were attached and the fact that I can't think of even one Thanksgiving comedy, this one had all of the makings to be an inevitable box office success and also have an inevitable monopoly over the Thanksgiving comedy movie genre. Instead of wallowing in the pain of this movie never getting made, let's look at 5 comedies you'll love if you love American Pie. Here.